So what I did is that I make a decision and I said I need to move forward. I need to bring the food for my family. Right, my wife is pregnant. I need to move forward. So I just make a strong decision and said I'm gonna leave to Orlando and try if this works in another place. And I jumped with just $100 in my pocket, knowledge from those 4 years that I just was in the cave studying, and faith. That was all I have.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of I Have Something to Say, where subject matter experts are unafraid and unapologetic about sharing their perspectives regarding issues that impact our lives. They speak up because basically they give a shit. So if you're tired of canned answers and want to finally hear real people cut through the BS and talk about real issues, this is the podcast for you. I'm your host, Sami Heyman Marrero from Urbander, and behind our mixer is our producer, Chris Majoka from UdoU. Hi, everyone. I hope you're doing great, and I'm very excited that you've joined us today because I have a very special guest, Jorge Cruz. He's the president and CEO of Marketing Innovation Group. And he's been a business owner for over 11 years with its ups and downs, trials and tribulations. But right now he's on a high, on a big, big high, because he's actually in Puerto Rico. So, Jorge, come on. I'm jealous. I'm in Puerto Rico because he's part of a delegation with a local business community here in Central Florida that's accompanying our mayor of Orange County, visiting one of the towns in Puerto Rico to start establishing, right? How do you say, relationships and business opportunities that will
Yep.
bridge, right? These relationships between la diaspora and also mainstream American businesses and Puerto Rico. So thank you for making some time and taking a pause, Jorge, from your busy trip to joining us today. How are you?
I am super great, super blessed, and super happy to be with you here, Sammy, because it's my pleasure to be with you here. So thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just wanted to talk to you because sometimes the life of an entrepreneur, as I mentioned and you've been doing this for a minute, right? For over a decade. And before that, you had your profession and built your expertise, but now you're like a seasoned veteran, right? Without giving away, or right, dating ourselves. But where I wanted to get at is that, like me, you know what these ups and downs are, right? Of entrepreneurship. And also, especially, you came from Puerto Rico, so you uprooted your business and your entrepreneurship savvy and all of your know-how to then come into what Puerto Rico is part of the US, right? But technically also from a cultural standpoint and from a business standpoint, it's a whole other animal, right? And you
Totally
had
different.
the stamina and the determination to uplift your business and come over here, and your family too, come over here to the US mainland, to Orlando, to establish yourself and kind of like start anew. And so I thought it would be prudent to share that experience and everything that you've been through, and also celebrate what you're really
Awesome.
focused on doing now, right? And your focus on mentorship and supporting other entrepreneurs, so that way they don't have to go through all of the pain points that we have, right, in our
Yes.
entrepreneurship journey. So how did you start your business originally in Puerto Rico, and what prompted you to come to the US mainland and start fresh?
Well, I when I started in Puerto Rico, I actually was in Venezuela, living in Venezuela, working for an airline in Venezuela, and I make a decision to have time for me and my family. I know that all my friends they were getting divorced and they have no time with the family. So I said I cannot continue in this world of becoming an employee, making a lot of money but not being happy. So I decided to start a business from scratch with no idea of what was a business. I thought that was like easy money coming from the sky idea. Yeah. And I said, I don't want to be an employee anymore. I can do this myself. Short story is that I started my business from scratch and in Puerto Rico, where I was doing mainly the signage industry. I was doing traditional marketing, helping entrepreneurs doing all these vehicle wraps, the graphic for the cars, mesh buildings, billboards, signs. And for almost 11 years, I was doing that. And what happened is that then I was doing super good, 14 employees, three shift. So we were no stop company printing. We were doing like good money at 27 years old. So I was a kid making money,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah, the idea was good. So we hit the home run. However, when 9/11 came and the recession came, it was impossible for me to keep that business running. So from there, I decided to start doing digital marketing. Initially, I hate the internet. I am somebody who I like personal connections. I said internet is coming to destroy personal connections. So I hate that guy. I don't like internet. No internet. It's my enemy. What happened? When my business dropped down, I have no choice to close. I actually did bankruptcy after becoming very successful. I closed the company and I went to in my, I don't know how to say in English this word, in my backyard. I have like a little room and I would start studying. For 3, 4 years, I just studied fully what was Facebook, it was coming out at that moment, what was YouTube, what was all this stuff. When I came out, very pumped out to say, people, this is amazing. Internet is amazing. People, the owners started telling me, Jorge, I don't think that's gonna be internet is not gonna work. That was what 1990 what? No, was that was 2009 when I did that.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't trust internet. They say, no, I already invest my money on yellow pages, so I'm fine with that. I invest my money on radio or TV or whatever. So I get like I cannot stop this project. I need to continue. So from there, I make a decision and I switch. I move to Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try this. Also, what happened is that at that moment, my wife we have 4 kids. At that moment, we had 3 girls, and she was pregnant with my boy.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, "Oh, how are you gonna survive in Puerto Rico if nobody's paying attention to your message?" So what I did is that I make a decision and I said I need to move forward. I need to bring the food for my family. Right, my wife is pregnant. I need to move forward. So I just make a strong decision and said I'm gonna leave to Orlando and try if this works in another place. And I jumped with just $100 in my pocket. Knowledge from those 4 years that I just was in the cave studying, and faith. That was all I have. I didn't have money, so I just jumped and I came by myself alone. So I came and I just start, you know, connecting with people, and from there I start. And initially I couldn't do my business, so I start as becoming a bellman at the Wyndham Hotel in the International Drive. That's how I started. I was making $2.50 at that moment per hour. That was what I make and tips. So with that, I start making some little money, and I just pay my wife electricity in Puerto Rico, and I don't know how I did it. God provide me everything because it's impossible for me with 250 and tips to bring some stuff for my family and me keep going for 6 months by myself. After that, I couldn't hold anymore. I need to be with my family. My wife it was almost ready to get birth my boy. So I just traveled back to Puerto Rico. I was with her, as when she got my boy. And from there, we just moved with nothing, all of us to Orlando to keep my dream, to keep my challenge. So they came with me. We came all together and we start from there. And today, I am blessed to say that it's now almost 11 years in Orlando, established and being very successful. Thanks to God.
That's wonderful. And so with all of these lived experiences as an entrepreneur, right? And sometimes, as entrepreneurs, like for example, when I started my business, I was like, "Oh my goodness, what am I going to do?" It was during the recession too, actually, 14 years ago. But I had an extended family here, right? I already knew some people here on the US mainland. I commanded English and you command English too, right? So that's an advantage, right? I had some, so there were certain things that I'm like, who am I to complain, right? When I have all of these things that are to my advantage. And so really I applaud what you did for your family. And sometimes that's what happens, that when we start businesses, it's really to literally put food on the table in most instances, and we have no idea about what the hell we're doing until we're in it, right? It's right.
Yes.
I'm just keeping it
Yes.
real. So then my question to you is, what do you feel were the learnings from the first time around that you learned for the second time around, right, when you came here to the US, that you applied immediately, right, into how you set up your business here? And then the other thing I want to know is that, how different was it, right, establishing a business in, for example, Puerto Rico, versus here?
Oh yeah, definitely. When I moved here in Puerto Rico to establish a business, you just do your stuff first and then you ask for permissions. Initially, you have an idea, you put everything together, and then you ask for permission if it works. When you move here, everything works for organized. Everything is like first you need to do this, then second, then you do whatever. So I learned to be more organized, to be more respectful for how
Mm.
how everything works in here. So I learned a lot. I learned a lot for to be more responsible and organizing the stuff first. In Puerto Rico, I don't know how I did it with just having an idea and jumping on that, having an idea and jumping on that. So yeah, it was very hard. It was very very hard. Also, I didn't I missed something that for me was even harder. Is dealing with my family, my mom, my dad, my uncles, my grandmother, my wife. All of them say they think I was kind of crazy. That not kind of crazy. They think that, I was fully crazy by leaving my wife with three kids and one I'm pregnant and no money. And it's like, this guy is dreaming, on air. It's no
Yeah.
way. There's no way. Actually, even my friends, they say, I see you in 2 weeks. In not even 2 weeks, I will see you again back here. So nobody, and having that negative pressure over you. So anytime you call your any family or friend, and they are like, are you kidding me? Have you been holding for a month? How could you hold that for 3 months? That was, I will say, was the very hard part for me. The emotional
Yeah.
part for me was very hard to have nobody to trust on my dream. And
Yeah.
when you're an entrepreneur, you need to have a strong skin, and you need to believe in your dream, and you need to go beyond anything that's stopped on your front. And I think that was my biggest lesson. And that actually helped me be able to trust more in God. Because
Mm.
once one thing I was saying before is that I trust God, but you don't trust God until you're on when you, on the on until you are on fire, until you are in that moment. That's when you see how He provides you everything, knowledge, idea, everything runs when you do it. So it helped me a lot in my personal connection with God. Actually, it helped me a lot to
Mm.
see how He really provides. When for everybody was impossible, for me it was becoming possible.
Yes. And you were saying before, we hopped on this recorded conversation, we had like a pre-conversation, but you were saying how you've learned that, what was it about the training? What was it that you said that
Ah,
when
yeah.
uh
Actually, what happened is this is not my first one. This is like my fifth big lesson in life, right? But what I have really learned at the end, accidents and different stuff on my business. I one day actually I learned it this way. I will give you the story. I one day when I was 40 years old, I don't know, I woke up and I feel like I never want to go to church to say thank you God for another year of life. I always say happy birthday, everything you jump on this, but I never went to church and say thank you. That day, I said my wife, I don't even want to have breakfast. I want to go straight to church and just talk to God and say thank you for another year, 4 decades. So when
Mhm.
I was there, relaxed, alone, talking to God, and I had a like in my mind, like a voice, internal voice, when I said, "Thank you, God, for every lesson you teach me, every testing you did for me, because all this testing make me a man, made me somebody who I am right now." So I was always testing, 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 and I said that so many times that at some point in my brain say like, "I never test you. It was a training." Boom.
Mm.
I said, "Oh my God! Now I understand. It was not really a testing. He don't. I realized he don't need to test us because he made us. So he
Mm.
know how good we are on something and how bad we are in other things. He don't need to
Mhm.
test. He built, right? He just trained me for the next step. And when I understood that part, I forgot. I changed my mindset fully, 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 fully. I actually after that I had more challenges, and I
Mm.
never cry. I never complain. In the hospital, almost dying, I was saying thank you for this training. If this
Mm.
training is so hard, it's because something bigger is coming. So and here I am
Mhm.
right now after that last big training. So
Mhm.
yeah, that was my biggest lesson was learning that it just is never a testing, it's a training. That's my biggest
Mm.
lesson.
What
Yeah,
an outlook on life, right? Because then you'll never be defeated, right? It gives you power, right? And so I think that's a
nothing.
beautiful thing. Yeah. Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful thing that it's not a test, it's just part of the training. Love it.
Yes.
I love it. Yeah. And the thing is, now I know that you have a specialty and you don't know so many things, but I love how you're hyper focused right now on really helping medical practitioners, right, that identify as Latino, that are here on the US mainland, to better promote, right, and reach their prospective patients, so that way they don't just limit themselves to Latino only, because a lot of Hispanic business owners do that, right, and they get very
Yeah.
complacent and comfortable, and sometimes that's not good. Not sometimes,
No
always
good.
that's not good,
Hmm.
because we live in a bigger society, right, in a multicultural and diverse society, so it's very important to know what your full potential is, and also serve, right, the community in a broader way. And so you help guide these medical practitioners in how to better serve and communicate and market themselves to diverse communities, and really exercise business practices that are of the US, right? And not of Puerto Rico or other countries of origin, which, like you very well experienced, are very different, right? From what people sometimes come with this notion that I'm going to do business like I know how to do business because I know it all, right? But then you
Yeah.
help them guide and say, no, 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 things are different, done differently here. And so, what made you hyper focus on this as your purpose among the other things that you do? And also talk to me about the give back, about your new, how do you say, mission
When it,
to help
yeah.
so yeah, with mentorship and helping entrepreneurs.
Well, actually, Sammy, what happened is that like I said before, in Puerto Rico, I was doing traditional marketing, printing, and all this stuff. When I moved, one of the other lessons that I learned was that when I switched to the digital world, it was not only the change of a country and a different language and place, it's about also a different product, a different service. Is very different when I was trying to use traditional ways of marketing I was trying to use them for digital marketing, and I noticed that it just didn't just work. It was very different. So by me trying to hustling, looking for different clients and helping different people, I realized one day, by maybe let's say something that happened, no casualty happened, right? And I was helping the doctor, and for him was hard to do his videos in English. So I said, forget it. Let's do this in Spanish. Let's do a campaign to Osceola County, Kissimmee, Poinciana. Let's do that the region as we are doing digital marketing. I don't need to go all the world. Let's focus on one specific area. So let's find people who speak Spanish only and see what happened. And when we did that campaign, it was a home run. It was like, what? So what he did, he just we talked in rice and beans. I said, I want you to be like you are. I want you to connect your human being with patients. I want them to see you like a friend. So talk to them in Spanish, your way. Talk about arepas, talk about alcapurrias, talk about talk that language.
Food. Why does
We
it
did,
always go back to food? The-
yeah, yeah,
yes, it does.
yeah. So we did that, and it was like an experiment. Boom, it was a home run. We just start getting more and more patients. Like the leads, our cost per lead was like less than $1, when normally you pay no less than $5. So
Yeah.
it's like, wow, this is awesome. So then we did another campaign. We grow so fast that he opened a second location in Lake Nona. So you have
Mm.
Kissimmee location and then Lake Nona location. So from there, I said, like, this is a huge opportunity. I'm going to jump in on this. So that's where I say, okay, not only I'm going to focus on helping doctors, but I'm also go beyond that to go to a micro niche of doctors that can speak Spanish and that would like to do some content in Spanish so we can get and attract more patients as they are waiting for us.
Hmm.
If you're Hispanic and you speak English, patients don't feel like they don't have the connection. Once you talk to them in their language and you talk about things they are related in life and culturally, and I know you are an expert on that topic. When you talk the emotional and cultural part, people connect with you and they just come to you. They choose you as the doctor. So that's how it happened. It was no so- it- I need to be honest, it was not something I planned. It just happened as an experiment and it works. And from there, that's where I'm made my marketing innovation group, the agency, focus on that part. But you make me a second question. How happened also that I start a new mission to help entrepreneurs um, from different industries. I have the blessing when I came here also that I was hired by Prospera to become a provider. So for the a grant provider. So what happened? I started helping different industries. No. I think one doctor only. All the other industries I was working. However, none of them were in the stage yet to be able to invest in an agency, a team, external team to do the work for them. They don't have the financial, um, how you say, resources to do that.
Yes.
Every time I go and help anybody, it's like, I am pumped out. I want to do this dream of my business of food or whatever, or doing loan, whatever, or roofing, whatever it is. But I'm starting. I'm only 2 years old in business, and I was like, man, I need to help these people. I mean, how I'm gonna help them? But I cannot take them because I have employees. It's impossible for me to do it for much less.
Yeah.
What happened finally? I actually had an accident in January 2021 where I almost died. That was my last challenge. And when I was for about 6 months in therapy and different surgeries and stuff, I was able to realize that it was the time for me to to switch my have another branch to do now mentoring and coaching.
Mm.
So now finally I launched my dream of having an academy. I have an online academy where I'm starting to teach people for free, and people who want to go another level, where I go more group or one-on-one to mentor and coach them on how to properly take the fullest advantage of the internet for their business. So that's how one thing pushed the other one. It was the my feeling of not helping people that they needed, and I have no choice for them at that moment. That's how it
Right.
happened.
So that way you created it. And I think that's what I love about, the work that you've done and your trajectory. And it's that everything you've done has been, because that's what entrepreneurship's about, right? It's the finding a problem and finding a solution, but in this case you
Yeah.
built a business around that, and that's what entrepreneurship is. And
Yes.
so you've been able to do that, but I love how in that process you've embedded into it the give back and the mentorship, because a lot of people say, if it was hard for me, well then let screw it, let it be hard for them,
Oh,
right? But people
yeah.
are like that, right? It's like they're
Sadly, yeah.
very self-centered and very, but i
Yeah.
i and I think that that's why we're kind of like in the same circles, because this tribe that we belong
Yeah.
to believes in that if we elevate others, and what happens to my brother and my sister, right, affects me. And so I love that you saw an opportunity, but it's really an opportunity to help others in that too. It's a business
Yeah.
opportunity, but the end result is that others will grow and that others will find their way without having to face all of these challenges that, a lot of people see them as setbacks, and they can become setbacks if you don't have the proper assistance and help of people like you that are generous with their time and with their knowledge and with their know-how, and that actually know what the hell they're doing, right? Because that's the other thing. Beware of asking for help with people that are just gonna put you through a rabbit hole, right? That's happened to
Oh
me
yeah.
too. Yeah, and I'm sure
Oh,
it's happened to
for
you
me
as well.
multiple times.
Yeah. And so it's very important to listen, discern, and, find those people that are going to point you in the right direction, because all they want is for you to be successful. And because and I know, Jorge, that you just find joy in knowing and learning about someone achieving success.
For sure. That's you say the magical word right now. Joy. I was trying to actually look that word in English as you were talking. You say joy. She had to put the right word. That's the best feeling I have. When you have
Yeah.
somebody and they say, "Oh my God, Jorge, thank you for shortcutting my process. I was wasting so much money and time on social media. Why? Because you're doing what other people are doing. You need to learn the the next level of this is huge. Why some people are making a lot of money on social media and some people don't? They are because they are just modeling the wrong people.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand the algorithm of how this works and the psychology, the strategy behind it, if you don't mix those two things together, you're gonna be wasting your time and money. And I love, and it's my joy to have people to say like, you make a click on me, and now I understand. Now I
Yeah.
know how to make content online. Yeah,
Yes, that's awesome. So, how do you see now that we're talking about the Latino market, right? Now that, I mean, the 2020 census numbers came out,
yeah, yeah,
it makes you do, right? And
yeah,
so, what is
yeah.
what is your take on where we're headed? And what advice do you want to give, in closing? Because I want to make sure that we part with some takeaways for general market businesses, agencies, and people even in government and in different industries, right? About the importance of looking closely at the Hispanic market. What are your thoughts and your takeaways on that?
I just call it the new booming market. And I mean, some people won't even pay attention, and that's good because they give me the opportunity to get more opportunities for me, and and to help other people to take advantage of this. This is a switch that is happening Some people don't see it. Like the internet happened to me. I didn't saw the potential of internet, and I waste years doing traditional marketing when I should be switching. I should be looking at the trends. And if you look at the trend, if you watch it, you must pay attention to us, the Latinos, the Hispanic market, because we are here, we're growing, we're making a big difference. And I mean, if you provide them what they need, I know for sure that your business can grow exponentially if you pay attention to this market that is growing extremely fast.
Yeah,
Yeah, and with
definitely.
also in the metrics, I don't have the numbers right now, but I know that financially we are. I don't know how to say that word in English. We are. It's not injecting because not that's wrong. We are uh,
Contributing.
contributing. Yeah, with big financial. We are making a big difference. Let's say it this way. I don't
Yes.
know how to
Oh,
say it in English.
absolutely. I think that the latest stat that I saw was that if you took the US Hispanic market segment and made a country and took and how many people would wish that would happen, right? That they would take us and put us somewhere else, but that's a
Yeah,
whole other topic. But if you created a country just amongst US Hispanics, it would be the seventh largest GDP in the world.
boom. You got it
Boom.
there.
Yes, exactly. And that's just like a nugget of the stats, right? But yes, it's a very, very powerful segment, and it's almost like a sleeping giant, if you will, right?
That's it.
But
That's it. The sleeping giant. You're right.
yeah,
You're right.
yeah. So
It's a good way to
I'm
say it.
so excited that you made this time to have this conversation with me, Jorge. I know it won't be the last, and I actually have to call you offline because I want to pick your brain regarding digital marketing because we're
I'm yours. I
ready
am
to
yours, Sammy. I am yours.
unveil a couple of things, and I really value and respect your level of expertise in this arena. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Sammy. I really appreciate
Yes.
that you have
Listen,
this time
have
with
a
me.
wonderful rest of your trip, okay? Y me saludas a todo el mundo out there, okay?
I will let them know. I was with Sammy today. Yeah.
Okay, sounds
All
great.
of
I'll
them know
talk to you
you.
later.
All of them will be excited to know that I was on your podcast.
Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thank you. Bye bye, everyone. Thank you for being here.
Adios.
Bye.
This concludes this episode of I Have Something to Say. We want to thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to tell your friends about us. We're on Spotify and iTunes as well. There's more to come next week. And remember, if you have something to say, it's time to speak up.